trust me, I made some mistakes. Everybody does.
Yeah.
That's being human. And it's always good to learn no matter when it happens.
All right, Coach E, welcome to Houston.
Love the boiling humidity.
Yeah, sitting in it right now.
Yep.
Live and in person.
Excellent.
We don't get to do this enough.
No, we don't. Usually once a year.
Yeah.
And usually in Reno, Nevada.
This week in Reno, usually.
Yep.
We've did a house swap this time. So, gosh, this has been a long time coming. Something that we're always catching up, and last night we had a really special night, and I wanted to tell you this, that a lot of your mentors and fellow coaches in the world had Coach V Hill as like an incredible influence on their life, and I wanted to tell you in person that you have been my V Hill. You've been my person of influence in running, in life, and coaching. You could tell the emotions, and we'll get more into last night, but you've been an incredible person in my life, and that we met, almost 25 years ago at the Mount Sac Relays.
That was fun.
Only probably halfway through your coaching endeavors.
Yeah. Well, we were here. I came in town to celebrate Jim Bevan's retirement from Rice University. He coached at one school for 40 years. That's, in this business, that is hard to conceive of.
As they said, a unicorn.
He is.
For many reasons, but for that particular one.
Yep. He had Joe V. Hill as his initial mentor, and later on Victor Lopez, who was the head coach at Rice when he became the assistant. And he eventually succeeded Victor when Victor retired. Jim's one of those special human beings, and there was just love in the room last night from all sorts of former athletes and people he's worked with, and it was a great experience to be a part of that.
Yeah. As I told him this morning when he stopped by, I was like, man, I had him speaking, and he got into his coaching spiel, but I had you on my left, and then my next college coach after you on my right, and Coach Teresa Fuqua, and it was just an awesome night to be surrounded by great people and lifting each other all up throughout our lives.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we leaned on each other a lot.
Still do.
Yeah, it's true.
So here we are, and long time coming. I think we'll just keep giving a little taste of who we are and how we growing together throughout this series that we're now starting, with a focus on coaching, because I think, as we talked about this week, like you're always learning, you're always studying. I'm always finding resources and trying to filter out stuff that's valuable and not.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
But I see this book sitting right in front of you, and I told you today, I'm like, you need to pull the cliff notes out for people, because not everyone reads that stuff, and you're kind of like taken back that, maybe we are the few that study, just like Bevan and V Hill and the ones before us, and so hopefully we can add some value to people's training through insights like that, filter out what we think is valid, because there's a lot of influences, as Bevan said last night. People are still copy and pasting in the coaching world and in the athlete world, and it's more available to us than ever with Strava and what people are doing, and Workout Wednesday on YouTube, and the boards on Let's Run. So I think it's going to be a hot topic for us, of just what our influences have been and what we're still finding.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, this happens to be, for people who are watching it some other time, Sunday evening, June 28th. And this is worth mentioning because today was the Paris Diamond League meet. Western States wrapped up today after a phenomenal weekend of trail racing up there. And it's Mel Brooks' 100th birthday. And I had to tell Cal who Mel Brooks was. Mel Brooks is one of America's great comedians. I mean, the reason you don't know him is because he's 100 years old and he hasn't been on camera in a long time. But he was behind two seminal comedies in the 70s. He did Blazing Saddles. He was the director and co-writer of that. And then he did Young Frankenstein. He's the director of it. And those are just silly films, but they hit it right.
I recently watched Blazing Saddles, so there you go.
Good.
From a pool. So it's even better.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, all right, we're already getting a taste of Coach E and just what this podcast is going to be about as well. It's us kind of catching up because we don't get to see each other or talk to each other as much as we'd like. And so when I was at Little Rock University, one of the other reasons other than the training and the team you assembled was your charisma and your hipness into the music and movie world.
Oh, boy.
And you're a big movie guy. I mean, you were a critic for a while.
Yeah, when I was at Texas Tech, I was the critic for Lubbock Magazine for a few years.
That's right.
Yeah, so I originally went to school for film and shifted into education so that I could coach. Yeah.
So I love that you got off the plane here in Houston and grabbed a quick bite at a cantina, El Tiempo.
That's fabulous food.
Great fajitas, and quickly got over to the theater, which there's not many left, for a one-night-only showing in theaters of Jack Johnson's new SURFILMMUSIC, which I thought that was a perfect way to start.
It was great.
You almost said, like, I don't know who Jack Johnson is, but of course you heard the tunes and knew right away how much of an influence he's had. But I didn't. It was a documentary that he kind of put together. Highly recommend. I think both of us just walked out of there like, wow, what an incredible, diverse human.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. He's a professional surfer, begins filming surfing and starts creating films, not just a few outtakes.
Yeah.
And then begins writing music. And he put it all together. I mean, he became a star in the music world. Yeah. And he was just doing an amazing thing last night, wrapping all three of those worlds together.
Yeah, incredible movie. I'm sure it'll be streaming soon, so look out for SURFILMMUSIC. A couple of things I pulled, not only that, all he has done. One, he kind of fell into the movie, then the music industry because of an injury. Like, he basically got a concussion that didn't allow him to perform anymore as an athlete.
Right.
And I think that diversity is key in this world. Like, for me, it's helped as an athlete to be a coach, to be a race director, if you're learning who I am, it's just like all these facets that you can be involved with. You got to be diverse these days. And not only that, and then the parallel to like Jim Bevan last night, Coach Bevan is, that guy survived 40 years at one school, and Jack Johnson seems to have survived a career of just no negativity in the press, no scandals, it's hard to do these days because everyone has a camera, everyone's offended, right? And
he seemed like genuinely one of the world's nicest guys. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. And I mean, I know everybody has another story, hard times, but like having his wife, Jack Johnson having his wife from 5 days into college in Santa Barbara, all the way through being a rock star is just unheard of these days.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Pretty cool life.
And a great film.
Yeah. So we're going to be touching on music. We'll touch on film. Obviously coaching, training.
Let me tell you a little throwback film. We just talked about something that just hit the theaters.
Yeah.
One from 1934. I just wheeled this thing out and showed it to some friends.
That's right.
Who hadn't seen it. It's The Thin Man with Myrna Loy and William Powell. It is a fabulous film. It's kind of a precursor to film noir, which really began with The Maltese Falcon in 1941.
Oh, wow.
But
The Thin Man.
It starts as a murder mystery the first 15, 20 minutes, and then morphs into a comedy. And William Powell and Myrna Loy became America's couple for the next 14 years. They were the top box office grossing couple from 1934 until 1948. Did a whole bunch of films, 5 or 6 of which were in the Thin Man series. And it's worth watching. Comedy's different. Filmmaking is different.
Yeah.
And this is 92 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a little slower,
yeah.
but it's still worth the watch.
On my list.
Cool.
Yeah, and then the next piece is covering some races and things that happened. So
a lot happened this weekend.
Yeah. Obviously, the purest world of track and road stuff, but I love that, I guess in your time, you've really seen this, even in my time, but the trail ultra world exploding.
Yes.
And now you've been hooked on 2 live feeds. Yesterday's being only 24 hours long. You watched the Cocodona
across
250.
3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like the movies world and filming. It's a different world now with running too.
Ultras and trail racing are marketing themselves so well. I mean, they're gaining an audience and they're gaining participants because of what they're doing. And I kind of think about how perhaps road racing kind of missed the boat on that.
Yeah.
May not have been interesting showing people just on a road, but seeing the race dynamics play out, etc., I think it would have been worth a shot.
Yeah, I'm still seeing, and even I have, a bit of a critical view and hot take on it. It's just like, could be better even, it's...
Oh yeah.
We saw, we drove home from Rice last night, 30, 40 minutes. The men's race had just ended. We didn't know the result yet, didn't know the time, and nothing was covered. There was no recap in that period. It was nice to see that the focus
on the audio. There was on the screen, they were scrolling through the results, but if you weren't watching the screen, if you were just watching on or listening to it,
no idea.
No idea.
Yeah, and just tracking people still to these days is difficult. Even the tracker at the bottom was delayed, and technology will improve that. I'll be trying a new system in August at the next race I host with Bluetooth technology and mapping and stuff, so we'll see how that works out. And
cool.
From a safety component, it's a huge upgrade to what we've been doing, keeping runners safe. And when you have courses that are 100 miles point to point, I mean, you got to know where people are and when you're going to expect them and where to find them if they don't show up. So yeah, and then people just want to tune in and see where their loved ones or friends or fans are, So, more to come from that world. What else stood out to you from Western States? I mean, Lichter was incredible. Debut 100-miler.
Debut 100-miler, wins it, sets the course record. Now, this comes with a caveat.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how much weather influences times in everything from probably 1,500 on up.
Yeah.
But certainly... for sure, from 5,000 on up.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had temperatures probably above on the ridges in the 30s early yesterday morning, and then in the 50s most of the day while they were racing, kept those engines running a lot cooler than they would have been and a lot more efficiently. Yeah. And so if you can find situations where you can get to lower humidity when you're fit or lower temperatures when you're fit, you're going to run faster. It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, even Bevan was talking last night, he moved from Colorado as a kid to coach, and he'd been trained on that system of, high and dry. Come here, and if you don't change your way of running and training and racing, I mean, you're going to blow up. We met with an athlete today. They're still learning how to convert paces and heat and humidity, and it's just always... I had one comment today on my final surge coaching. It was like I was off by what I wanted by 10 to 20 seconds, and I'm like, why are we even looking at numbers? It's effort. It's
How well
hard
did
and
you
easy.
race?
Yeah.
How well did you race under the situation or the circumstances?
Well, this was even just a workout.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and we're complete off season right now. I mean, we're coming off a major marathon for this person, and we got months till the next one. So it's like, there's no numbers here right now. And I've been training blind this summer, and it's paid off. I mean, I finally went and raced, so I know that I ran a distance and I got a time out of it. But until that point, I was doing a lot of treadmill incline stuff, so there's no way to convert it. Or I'm in the heat doing stuff, and it's just like I didn't put a number on my training. I recorded it, but show up to a race, and then it's just like, okay, let's feel that effort out. I was way more in tune, and like I told that athlete today, it was who's going to slow down the least that's going to do the best when you're racing in this stuff. And I think that's the same with Western States, and I think kind of where you're going with that is like, I don't think we haven't seen the best of the Western States. We certainly haven't seen it at Cocodona. We don't even know what the peak of that is, especially when you get a cold weather day. But the fact that a debut 100-miler can win it in a course record, I think, we're still missing we haven't got to the cream yet on those distances.
Yeah. I mean, Western States is such a unique situation in that they don't just let elite athletes in.
Right.
They have to earn a golden ticket, and there's only a few of those, and so...
Yeah, or you're in a massive lotto.
Yeah.
Playing the odds.
Yep. So a lot of them are just, recreational runners who, love the trails and put the volume in, and we'll see if Western States ever changes and allows in, say, 25 elite athletes each year.
Yeah.
That would be, I think, a dramatic shift in what you see in performance.
Yeah. Yeah, because you just don't have the depth. I mean, the fact that people still get to halfway 100K-ish broken up, not in packs. I mean, look at a marathon. Or like, when does the race start? It's like, not till 20 miles, right? The race doesn't start till
a lot of times later than that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think we've just seen the thing. Also, I think a bit of a hot take, and definitely it's hot. The Hoka athletes that we really, we were cheering for. I was cheering for Hans. I paced him last year as an ultra athlete. He had switched brands this year. But Hans, Hayden Hawks, Jim Walmsley, all these guys were, from what I hear, almost forced to go to a altitude training camp in Arizona, Flagstaff, for a lot of weeks. And I just find it interesting that they all dropped at Forest Hill. They all only made it 100K out of 100 mile, and dragged themselves into that point. And they all have different coaches. They all train differently, but then they were all brought together as aces, just like when you're a coach at a college, you bring in all the aces from every high school. I think that hurt them.
If you're used to training alone and all of a sudden you got two other top-level athletes training with you, there's too many egos involved.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do that with a group of athletes, you better have a coach who really sits on them, who controls things so they don't overtrain, basically.
I'm sure they even had pressure to perform, not only against each other, but because the brand is there.
Sure.
And they're doing content and everything else. It's like, I'm sure that had an effect. It's interesting. I mean, it's great to have, because we don't get teams in trail, really. And everyone's pretty much training on their own. We don't have those projects.
And wasn't it a Hoka athlete who won who didn't go to the camp?
At least, for sure, I think the guy that's second, I don't think he had gone to the camp. There was a few that had bowed out of it somehow. But yeah, it's definitely worth noting.
You always come up with the good hot takes. Well, we had some fun in Paris today. The Grant Fisher returned to form. Won it in 12:54.80. Not the fastest time in the world, but it was as many people know, Paris has been boiling the last week.
Yeah.
And it had cooled off some, but it was still probably 80 degrees when they raced. Not a good temperature for a 5,000, for an elite 5,000. And so they really slowed down with 6 and 5 laps to go. Took off again in the last 4, but they all conserved some energy to be able to finish hard instead of hammering all the way through. Of note, Fisher beat some pretty good folks, Kenyan Jacob Kropp and Swede Andreas Almgren, who's been really hot the last couple of years. And the other U.S. athlete in there was Graham Blanks. He finished 6th in 12:57.12. Another really solid time in that heat. And notably, he beat in the 7th place finisher was Jimmy Gressier, French athlete who's been really a high-level performer the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's cool. I didn't catch the race, obviously, but saw the Grant Fisher highlight. Great time in the heat.
Yep. And then...
And the 800, right, was the other big one that you were keeping tabs on.
Audrey Vero, the Swiss Wunderkind, went 1:53.80. She's becoming the first woman in history to have 2 times under 1:54, and she's closing in on a 43-year-old.
Yeah, that's a long record.
World record by Yamila Krachevalova, who ran 1:53.28 in 1983. And this was going to be the summer of the women's 800. Everybody thought Keely Hutchinson was going to take a swing and belt the record out of the park. But she's been dogged with some minor injuries, and it's kept her season from having any kind of flow. And then steps up to the plate a young lady from the Netherlands, Femke Broders-Bol, who was the dominant 400 hurdler in the Diamond League the last couple of years, because Sydney McLaughlin wouldn't run in the Diamond League meets, or didn't run in the Diamond League meets. And Femke was a 51 high, 52 low 400 hurdler. I mean, she's elite. And so she switched over just to get a change of pace as much as anything else. And she went 155 mid today, getting another 2.5 improvement. She went from 159, one race indoors. She opened outdoors at 157 kind of low, and then just went 155 mid. She's doing some good stuff. She's going to be a factor by the time
you think she stays in that distance going into the Olympics, or plays with the hurdles?
Too hard to know. I'm not going to second guess. I think they're doing this. They're doing this in 26,
right,
to give her some time to make some decisions.
Yeah.
Because in 27, you're going to want to start dialing in whatever your event is.
For sure.
So it'll be interesting to see. But I think she's going to give Vero a run by the end of the summer. It'll be very interesting. So anyway, a couple other, the 1500s were fabulous. Cam Myers from Australia, 20 years old, set the world lead this year in 3:28 flat.
Holy smokes.
That kid's doing some damage out there. And then the other woman from Great Britain who's been on a tear besides Hutchinson is her teammate, Georgia Hunter-Bell. She went 3:55.63 in the women's 1500 and took down a really good field. Given that the meet was held in really hot conditions, the middle distances and distances were still really competitive and quite high level.
Yeah. Yeah, we just caught some of the NCAA champs coming out of, May. It was great to watch track. I encourage everybody to, maybe they're not used to watching, but it's just huge motivation to see a 100-miler and a 1,500 meter or 800 meter on the same weekend. It's, I think, surrounding yourself by that influence is good for your own running, to see what else is out there. It's like, I always tell people this, like, I wish I kind of got a little bit outside of my bubbles a little bit. When I was in high school, I had no idea that even the marathon really existed. Like, obviously I knew like Comrades Marathon. I had a teacher that had done Comrades, and I was aware of ultra running, and I was aware of the marathon. I grew up around my dad running marathons, but I didn't know that, there's guys out there running 2:0, and there's Olympic trials, and what the path looks like, or even just like our bubble. We focus so much in college, like on the conference level, or if you're in the high school, you're worried about your district or your state, but knowing like what's in the world is kind of opens up your ranges a little bit more. Not to make yourself feel bad that you're like so far behind, but it's just like some athletes I get, like a lot of us, we're looking at Boston qualifier as like the line, but it's like, is that really where your peak is as an athlete? When I kind of break that barrier down for somebody, I see them really run so much faster. And it's like, I got to run a Boston qualifier, and I don't know if I can do it. It's like, I think you can run a lot faster than that. But
excellent.
Yeah, I think that's always helped me just mentally. It's like something you can do without even training harder to get faster. Be a fan of the sport, right?
It's an incredible sport. Once you learn a little bit about it, it's much more interesting to follow.
Yeah. All right. Tell me about this book. Mine just arrived today, so I haven't been able to get into Marius Bakken's Norwegian Method. Obviously, it's been made super popular by the Ingebrigtsens and their training method.
Let's Run has covered this book heavily too.
Yeah.
And we talked. I was thinking, geez, a lot of recreational runners are going to pick this up, but you and I talk about it, and I think that's not as likely. This is definitely coming from a scientific background. Dr. Marius Bakken is literally a doctor. He was a 1305, 1306, 5,000 meter runner back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Okay. So way ahead of the curve. And he basically experimented on himself with what he understood the physiology to be, and came up with a system which the Ingebrigtsens have made popular as the double AT or double threshold
double
workouts.
T, yeah.
Yep. And there's some variations to that. And I mean, I'm only at 20% of the way into this book, and it's blowing my mind. And I've been around, I coached for over 50 years professionally.
Yeah.
Still coaching through Hardloop. And it's kind of mind-blowing to see some of these things in the first part of a book. You think about, well, maybe I'm going to learn something by the end of this book. I'm having my eyes wide open early on. I think one of the main things that I think makes complete sense once I read a little bit about it, but until then I hadn't put that piece together, is that the biggest limiting factor in training is the muscular system. It's not the energy system.
Right.
And he describes muscle tone coming from a scientific background, not in necessarily the way you might just casually talk about somebody's muscle tone.
Right. When you say tone, I think their physique and lean muscle mass, and
it's the baseline tension level in a muscle. That's the scientific definition of it. And after a training session, muscle tone rises. It rises more the harder the session is. Now, when somebody's muscle tone increases, that's indicative of the work they just did. But while their muscle tone is elevated, they're not going to run as fast.
Yeah.
And so
Now your system's always, and super compensation curve and everything's always followed that, but maybe just not with that label of why we can't, do 10 by 400 and then immediately after 10 by 400 go and do 10 by 400 exactly the way you did it. Well, there's a lot of reasons, right? Like you're fatigued mentally, which people don't take into account. Your watch never tells you that. Your glycogen's depleted, sure, and it can regenerate quickly when you eat and refuel and rehydrate.
right.
There's some muscle breakdown and tearing, but like he's really talking about like the plasticity and the tension and the elasticity, yeah, the pop.
Yep. So he says that heavy legs are not in your imagination. If you feel it, it is a real change in how the muscles are functioning.
Yeah.
And rest does not alleviate heavy legs. This is one that I just went, whoa. You take 4 days off and it might be worse on the 5th day when you go to run. The low intensity, real easy running that you do helps the recovery. So this is especially true after hard sessions, is the next few days, if your muscle tone is elevated, you need to keep it easy, real simple, and not get excited because your workout is good and, I'll just run kind of fast today because I think it'll help me out.
Or because it was track Tuesday and now it's tempo Thursday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing I try to break away people on is like your body does not know what day it is.
Yep.
And we don't do enough listening to our body, and especially this metric that, again, our watch doesn't tell us.
Yep.
There's no app. The coach can't tell you. You really need that feedback.
You've got to feel it.
Yeah.
You've got to, this is why, one of the monikers that I've used, and many coaches use this, but you got to listen to your body. It's the simple rule of thumb.
Yeah.
If your body doesn't feel 100%, respect that. Training hard doesn't help you.
Yeah. And you don't want to do nothing either, is what the other side of that is.
Exactly. And I've made the mistake of occasionally telling some athletes just to take a couple days off,
right,
thinking that would help. One of the things this book has done is make me think back across literally 5+ decades of coaching and seeing where I have made some mistakes. And
or it could have been just more efficient, or
but trust me, I made some mistakes. Everybody does.
Yeah.
That's being human, and it's always good to learn, no matter when it happens. There's a few people I wish I could apologize to, but for the most part, we had people who listened to their bodies because I preached that, and those people came out the backside doing pretty well.
Yeah. It makes it so key back to the foundation of training, of just the timing of a workout or a race. The taper is one of the most misunderstood parts, and people get that, especially for the marathon, so wrong in so many training plans that we see out there, of just resting too much. And you wonder why you get to your marathon day feeling flat and heavy legs, after all of this training. And it's probably because you did nothing. And that's why people are shocked when we get to race week and they see the week. Now, they shouldn't be shocked because, I've done prerequisites of that week leading up. We've sampled it. You've seen this before. It's nothing new.
Right.
But some reason, just the global training thought process is you get to race week and you do nothing. And you eat a lot of carbs. And people are just shocked that their last 12 to 20 weeks are not working for them. It's no, I love my dad's foundation. He just read Galloway stuff, right? That's how I grew up. And it was, your body only knows the last 10 days.
Yeah.
And there's truth to that. And what you're saying, it's
sure.
You still gotta train.
Absolutely.
and keep that elasticity. And when I really listened to that, like that, you told me that about that book, and then I went out that day and I just felt elastic, and it was the perfect word for it. It was like, today's the day to do a workout if I wanted to.
Yeah.
If I was listening to my body and not a schedule and a calendar or whatever, it's like, that's the day. And unfortunately, you can't pick that for a race. So you got to figure that timing out in training.
Yep. The sequence of sessions leading into races is key.
Yeah. So something good to think about there. I think the other thing that you brought out on that book is just like the age-old debate of like, what is threshold? And there's so many definitions of it. I mean, you could say it's a millimole of X lactate measurement, or is it 1 hour race pace, or is it marathon pace even? You know, there's some books that define tempo, but when we're talking like pure threshold and like, what are you going to do your double T's at?
Well, let's do kind of a heavy-duty breakdown then. When you go into a lab and have your threshold tested, whether it be through just having your pulse monitored, or whether it is by having your blood actually sampled on a regular basis to determine when the lactate levels rise. Either way, what they're trying to determine are two things. Lactate threshold 1, LT1, and LT2, lactate threshold 2. That's what typically have called anaerobic threshold is 2, because that's where the lactate levels start to spike. Now, lactic acid is a good thing. We need it. It gets used as
a fuel.
Yep. But it also coincides with, the rise in it coincides with all sorts of other fatigue factors.
The hydrogen ion and things that make it difficult to run faster.
Right. Yeah. So what I'd heard for decades, and this is the other thing that was kind of mind-blowing to me, is that you want to get up to, in training, you want to go right up to threshold and hold it. You want to push the threshold as if it's a ceiling. You don't really want to go above it, but you want to get right to it and press. Bakken is very different. He wants you, let me just kind of use some basic numbers, 5 to 10 beats per minute below your threshold in training. Because he says even when you go to threshold, the cost is too high.
Right.
Basically, there's too much damage that occurs and your recovery is so much longer. If you want to do a threshold workout or 2 threshold workouts on Tuesday and come back on Thursday with them, you've got to keep your threshold level down 5 to 10 beats per minute below what your LT2 is, or your anaerobic threshold.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. I mean, I was told the exact opposite in clinic after clinic for years and years. And I think back about some of our training, explained some things when I thought I had everything dialed in, and it wasn't quite as dialed in as I wanted.
Yeah, I think in summary with what I do with a lot of people is like, it's better to get to race day just a little bit undertrained and healthy.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're trying to ride that line, if it's in a workout, the threshold, and you're playing too close to it or going a little bit over, which a lot of people will have a hard time doing a morning threshold controlled and then coming back with an evening threshold and not just trying to blow it out of the water. But when you are able to stay under that, I mean, you're going to be able to fit more training in and recover faster from it, and absorb it better. And yeah, it's hard to play that long game. But it's just something we've always preached. But yeah, the science of it, we've been told to be right at that.
Yep, and the science of it suggests that you need to be below it by a fairly significant number.
Yeah.
And that will leave you fresh. It'll leave you be able to do another session 2 days later, whether you do single thresholds or double. It really doesn't matter. Not many people are going to be able to do double thresholds who are out just in the running community. They're going to be doing single threshold sessions. And this is a key thing. You can't take the last several reps in a threshold session and go, oh, this has felt really good. I'm going to bump it up above.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, to get more out of it. It's like, no, you're not. You've missed it.
Yeah. You're actually starting to do cellular damage.
Yeah. I've always hated tempo, like really going at that pace. And now that I really have, in the last decade or whatever, focused on the marathon, a lot of my stuff will be half marathon pace to get ready for the marathon pace. It's a little bit of a notch down from the marathon, which is probably perfect because I'm probably just a notch above lactate threshold with the half marathon pace stuff. It's probably in that, say, 5 to 10 beats lower. I'm just trying to turn that into a practical thing. Like, how do you take that without going to a lab? And we talked about how labs can be completely inaccurate.
Right.
You've got to have somebody that knows what they're doing, because if they prick your finger and take the first drop, you might have some alcohol on it from the swab they just did. You got to get the second drop that's clean, and you got to use the machine properly, and the machine's got to be calibrated. The treadmill's got to be calibrated. The heart rate sensor, I was in the last lab test I did, the Polar H10, which is what you really need to use. It was like, it hadn't been software updated in forever. And, it's just like, it's not running the most recent calibrations and things. So I was seeing errors all over the place. And I was kind of helping this lab actually get set up. And I could recognize the procedures and the methods and the testing protocols that are really important.
Yeah.
If you're not coming to equilibrium on the lactate, you're not going to get an accurate reading. So the stage has to be long enough. But if the stage is too long and too hard, you're going to fatigue out before you get to the VO2 max, or you're going to get there too early. It's like so many variables on getting accurate data. So how do we use it? Like, race times are great. The race calculators that are out there. For my athletes, I use like Macmillan coaching calculator and Tin Man, and I'd plug a recent 5K in, plug a recent marathon time in. And if you can find that, let's say, 1 hour threshold mark, half marathon tempo is probably a great place to play.
Yeah.
At my level.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit different depending on the athlete, for sure. I'm excited to dive into the book, and the more I've run, and definitely the more I've coached, the more I've found the physiology side giving me the confidence to train smarter. Before I knew why running easy was so important, like what it actually did. Like one thing I read was just on the heart shaping, that when you're like us sitting here right now, your heart's a little bit, we'll use my heart right now. My heart's probably like 70% blood capacity right now, just sitting here. So it's not on demand. When I start running, instead of increasing the beats, it's really filling with more blood, the first response. And it'll eventually get to 100% capacity, and it can't go any more blood volume inside of the heart. But you're still at really low beats. For a lot of people, that might just be going for a walk. Some people, for me, I can jog at pretty low heart rate. I can jog at 100 beats, 110. And that's the sweet spot of, they call them big, juicy beats against the heart at 100%, but not increasing your heart rate. And that's where this heart reshaping comes into play. And that's why athletes have bigger hearts. And you get this like zone 1, zone 2 is like the sweet spot for like 70-80% of your volume. And why a lifetime of doing that, it just continues to get better. Until I heard like the reasoning behind how your heart is actually growing in the ventricles. It's like, that really just struck a real nerve with me of just like, okay, that's why it's so important, in addition to like recovering between these sessions, like we're talking about. So many variables. The muscle is definitely the one, like you're saying in this book, is the limiting factor. The heart isn't, glycogen isn't, hormones, mental fatigue.
They're all factors.
They're all definitely factors. But depending on the workout you do, what you're depleting or working the most, especially in a threshold session, it's probably the muscular.
Another reframing that Bakken did, which I think it was a almost a paradigm shift for me, is that in the coaching world, we talk about specificity. You want to run a faster 5,000. You do a lot of work at 5,000 meter pace on the same kind of surface, same kind of rhythm. Mm-hmm. All that is stuff that the body needs to adapt to. What Bakken says is the specificity you need to worry about is improving your threshold, because that's what actually powers better performances. It's not training at a specific race pace. You need to do a bit of it, obviously, to tune up, but basically he returns to threshold even during a competitive season. That's what he's doing 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Whereas I've heard a lot of coaches who stood in front of coaching conventions say, you don't need threshold or tempo once you're competing hard. You need to be just
VO2.
Doing specificity.
Yeah.
VO2 is kind of 3,000 meter-ish type.
If you're in a high school world, I mean, that's what they're doing, right? And you have two camps. You have the camps like, well, they're only racing VO2 max. We're only going to train VO2 max. But and I see this all the time. It's like, where is the development happening? What energy systems? And like, when you run easy, your mitochondria and your aerobic enzymes and everything is building during those times. And when you go to VO2 max, it's using those powerhouses of all the mitochondria built, and it's using all those pathways and neuro things that you built during the easy stuff and the tempo stuff to fuel it. It doesn't happen when you're at VO2. You don't build mitochondria.
Right.
You don't build aerobic capacity. And if you only do that stuff, I mean, you see a lot of high school programs that just skip over all the other energy systems.
That's why some young athletes run faster till about halfway through the season and then tend to go stale and recede in performance at the end. Now that seems to have improved across the country. I think a lot of coaches a lot of people have been following what Ingebrigtsen's been doing or are influenced by him.
I think he's had his training, and I've seen it throughout, like, the training partners and things that I follow. It's like, that's been the biggest influence, is the double T.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep, good stuff. Well, there's going to be a lot more in that Norwegian Method applied before we get through it.
Cool. I'm going to pick it up this week and start reading. For some fun topics to finish up, I think we were getting close to 50 minutes. On the boards is a good topic I wanted to go through, because I think whenever we kind of zone out when we're around each other, I notice you're on the Let's Run boards, and you're picking up some hot topics, and I asked you to what's been getting your blood pressure up over there. Well, first, have you ever found yourself on the boards? Like being talked about, or because it's a bad environment for an athlete usually if you're being talked about on Let's Run.
It's a bad environment for coaches to be talked about.
That too, yeah.
Well, every year they have a coaching thread, meaning what coaching positions are open and
that's a good one.
Who's up for them.
Yeah.
And hidden in there is almost always some truth, but 90% of it is BS. 90% of it is people attacking people who they don't like for one reason or another.
They don't even know.
They don't know.
Yeah.
Right. They see some performances by an athlete who they knew in the high school nearby. And if it's not as fast as they think that young person should be running at that university, obviously the coach has screwed up training. Now that may be the case, but there's a lot of other possibilities, including young people who drink too much their first few years in college, young people who just plain stay up too late and don't get enough sleep.
It's a complete new world when you go into college.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And not everybody adapts as well as others.
Yeah.
So there's also dynamics on teams that make...
Kind of like we talked about with the Hoka team.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the one that every summer that thread blows up because coaches are either retiring or being fired at the end of a season. Jobs open up and people are, I mean, I saw one of the big jobs in this country is the Texas A&M job open up. Pat Henry is out of A&M. He's in his 80s and finally stepped aside. And I mean, I saw people posting names from all over the country who are being considered for the job. Now, first of all, I don't think they have any idea who's being considered for the job. They're just throwing out names because these are people they think should be considered.
Right.
Unfortunately, athletic directors are the ones who make the call on that, not somebody sitting in their basement on a computer. So, we'll see how these jobs play out.
I do. Like, when I do go on there, it's been a while. That's why I asked you to pull some good topics on there. I mean, again, talking about being a fan of the sport, the homepage of Let's Run always has the latest and greatest stuff that's going on. But when you go into the weeds of non-verified information, it's a scary place and a cruel world.
That it is. One of the ones that is very, let's say, time sensitive is there's a thread on Grant Fisher winning the Diamond League is a blow to those who want him to be a marathoner. Because there's been a lot of talk on the Let's Run boards that, he's wasting his time, he's past his prime in the 5 and 10, he needs to move up to the marathon. Then he goes and wins the Diamond League. Diamond League meets are elite.
Yeah.
And if you win a Diamond League meet, you're doing something right.
Good for him.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Doesn't matter what the time is. So, and the time was certainly respectable, 12:54, but influenced by that heat, that's awesome. Let's see, there were a couple of things that popped up. Lots of people want to know about Jen Lichter after that performance.
I even asked you. I'm like, who is she? Where did she come from? I don't really know.
And I just found out about her on the front page of Let's Run. I mean, with her siblings on the streets of Bogota, Colombia, and I haven't read all the way through, but apparently ended up in the U.S. and had some good guidance along the way because she's ended up becoming quite a remarkable figure in our sport.
That's for sure. I mean, the record she broke was Courtney Dauwalter's. So she's on a great path right now. I mean, obviously she'd done some ultras to get into Western States and had great support. I mean, she was wearing the new uniform that was all over the place last week at Broken Arrow and this week with Western States with the ACG stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's the white and the orange.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And then kind of to wrap it up in terms of talking about what's on the Let's Run boards, but there's been a lot of talk about from, Monday morning quarterbacks, if you will, that Jacob Ingebrigtsen is done. Right? He's had a good year of injuries. He's training right now, but he's gotten a couple nicks during that process, and he's been hasn't been able to race yet. And it'll be very interesting to see what he does. But I think people automatically writing off one of the best middle distance runners of all time because he's been injured for a while is foolish. Yeah. He's that kind of talent and that kind of mentality to train at that level doesn't just disappear. Maybe at the end of his career, he may not feel like training as much, but it sure sounds like he is still interested in training. Yeah.
I'd say he's got the time. And if he's smart, then he's going to get healthy right now rather than try to impress the boards with showing up to races.
Yeah. And he's not that old. I'm going to use
I'm gonna
our...
guess 28.
Let's see here if I can pull up a figure. 25 years old. He turns
Wow.
26 in September.
Okay.
He's just been around at an elite level since he was 18, 19.
Right.
Kind of like we think Cam Myers might be, Sam Ruthie from New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Ruth or Ruthie? He's 16-year-old who's run just amazingly fast. Yeah, there's phenoms out there.
That's for sure. All right, well, I think that's a good time. We're at 55 minutes. Great start to, I think, just a taste of what we have in store. Where are you going to be at? You obviously travel home to Reno, and I think both of us are just looking forward to working with more athletes, getting ready for the fall.
Yep.
It's a good base building season, resets, recovery, recharging right now.
Absolutely. I've just talked to 2 athletes this week who are, I told them, time to shut it down.
Yeah.
Take a break.
Yeah.
Let your brain get fresh. Your body gets fresher way faster than you think.
Yeah.
You're tired because a lot of people are mentally fatigued.
It's hard to get out there every day and to be at that level, of your expectations even.
Oh, yeah.
And I've definitely taken a big fat mental break from training, but yeah, you come back hungry, and that's what you want. Like today, you told that guy, don't be drooling for it before you come back, right? Like you really want to have that break until you're okay. It's time, and then just like I said, like take it easy. Like don't put a number on it. It's just easy and hard and moderate and feel good, recover.
All the above.
Yeah. And then we get into the specificity.
Yeah.
As we zero in on fall marathoning. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to fall marathoning myself. And yeah.
Cool. You got one on the schedule for yourself?
I'm looking at going back to the Marine Corps in October out in DC. It's been a favorite race.
Cool.
And finishing up the year with the Marathon Project over with Ben Rosario's baby in Arizona. It'll be a fun build-up and try to take a fair crack at the Olympic trials standard as a newly minted American.
Awesome.
So we'll see where it goes.
Yes,
I might be asking for some help.
Just let me know.
All right. Thanks, Coach. It's good to see you.
It's a pleasure, Cal.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too.